Hello everyone, this is ACHAI Kaya, and this is a 1v1 between DCrodrigo and ajtls. I've never heard of this guy, but Rodrigo thinks very highly of him, and Rodrigo is actually one of the players from the SC2 Armory site. He is playing in a tournament here. I did not catch the details of which tournament specifically it was, but anyways, this is one of the early rounds. I believe he said this was the round of 5-12, so there's like a lot of players in this tournament. But they are going to be playing on Scrap Station, which is a 1v1 map, only built for 2 players. And once again, if you have not seen this map yet, there is this middle ground which you can get through by clearing out these destructible rocks, and that actually changes the dynamic of the map quite a bit, because that gives you a much quicker path to get to your opponent by ground, as opposed to going all the way out by the Zelnaga Watchtower here, which is of course blocked by these line of sight blockers. And each player having their own natural expansion right here, along with the destructible debris blocking off the extra entrance to those. So anyways, both players right now, it looks like going to open up pretty standard here. The first pylon going down inside Rodrigo's base, and over in the base of ajtls. Wow, that's going to be really hard to say a lot. I'm probably just going to start calling him AJ. But anyways, AJ just putting his first supply depot down inside his base. Excuse me, and it looks like he's actually going to put his first barracks down right at the entrance, as is Rodrigo going to put down his gateway at the entrance. And I don't know if you noticed there, but Rodrigo saying that he assumes his opponent is going to go Banshees on Scrap Station, because apparently Banshees are very, very popular on this map. I'm guessing simply because there is a very short distance between these two bases here by air, so they are very, very good for assault, especially if you can get that little cloak in there, get a little bit of cloaking detection, which allows you to hide from most other units. As long as they do not have observers or cannons, you can do some serious harassment with those. But anyways, it looks like Rodrigo getting a somewhat early gas even before his gateway is up and running. So we'll definitely probably see him going for some early tech units, getting some stalkers and sentries on the map. And as of right now, it looks like Rodrigo does have one probe scouting around inside the Terran base still, as the Terran is getting their orbital command center up and running, and also throwing down their second supply depot. If we take a look at the income tab here, we can see that there is a slight harvester advantage for Rodrigo right now, but that is not going to be too significant, especially when these mules come online here, because mules of course are much, much more efficient at harvesting than SCVs or probes. So and there's actually one Marine out in the base for AJ right now. He is chasing down Rodrigo's probe, trying to take out the scouting probe, most likely also trying to hide his tech tree, because obviously Rodrigo has said that he expects AJ to go for the Banshee. So he may try to sneak some kind of a different tech in there if he's able to. That way he can possibly throw him off guard. And actually, as soon as he takes out that scouting probe, he actually puts down a tech lab on his barracks. So already changing up his build order a little bit from what I'm sure Rodrigo is expecting. Meanwhile, back in the Protoss player's base, there is one SCV scouting him out and was actually mining the back of Rodrigo's minerals, which of course does slow down the mining capability of the probes, because only one harvesting unit is able to harvest at a time, with the exception of mules, of course. And Rodrigo also has a cybernetics core up and running, and actually has gone for a very fast expo here. These expansions are usually pretty popular to get early in the game, simply because they are so easy to defend. With these destructible debris here, you really only have one entrance to get into that expansion, and that is right next to your main. Meanwhile, it looks like AJ has actually already built a factory and is floating it right in between the two bases here. I'm not sure if he's going to try to use that for some kind of a proxy, or if he's just using that to scout in case any Phoenix come in the back for harass. But no, it looks like he is going to land it inside the Protoss player's base. And as we can see here by his vision, Rodrigo is not going to be aware that that factory is there. So it looks like we may see some Hellions actually doing a decent amount of damage to the mineral line here. But there are some Terran units pushing up on the front. There's one Marauder, 2 Marines, and an SCV apparently going to push up, and one more Marauder coming up as reinforcement. But back at Rodrigo's base, he does already have 2 stalkers up and running, and actually bringing some probes up as well to help defend. Another stalker coming into play here as well. So it looks like AJ is going to have to back off, because he does not have enough to take on this Protoss force at this point in time. And Rodrigo going to get this expansion up and running with very little problems, although there is one Hellion in the back of his base right now. Looks like that Hellion does have 2 kills from the mineral line, so Rodrigo reacting very quickly and getting his miners off of that mineral line. Oh, getting another good shot on the probes there, but still not getting any kills before that Hellion gets taken down, although there is another Hellion coming into play right now. So going to try to continue this harassment, although with these stalkers in play, I don't think he's going to be able to get a whole lot of kills. Getting one more there, as you can see. But really the damage being done here is the amount of time he's losing in mining with these probes, since he did not lose a whole lot of probes, and there are actually a bunch of Hellions queued up here right now. One more coming out, but it is going to go down before it's even able to get anywhere. And it looks like AJ did cancel the other two that were building, but has not lifted off this factory yet. So it looks like he is actually going to lose this factory to the combined stalker fire for these 6 stalkers, but he has decided to go ahead and put up his own expansion, although he is significantly behind in the timing because Rodrigo does have decent probe saturation at his minerals right now. As you can see, he's got about 10 or 11, it looks like, there probes, so he's actually a little over halfway to fully saturated on that expansion already, and about the same here, so it looks like he has split up his probes between the two bases. But once again, looking at the income here, we can see that there is only a 2 harvester advantage right now, so the income actually still is in the favor of Rodrigo, because it looks like the scans, you may have noticed a few times on the screen there, you've seen the scan come up. The Terran player AJ is, rather than using a lot of mules, has been using more scans, and as you can see, he does have 1 mule on the mineral line right now, but no more than that, and he is working on getting his command center up and running at the expansion, still just about to finish here. Meanwhile, his army composition right now appears to be primarily Marauders. There is 1 Marine in the mix, but that Marine is damaged. It looks like that may have been from the initial assault that he made on Rodrigo's base, but he did build another factory here, so, and it looks like starports as well, 1 going down right now and another SUV coming over. Yeah, he is going to put down 2 starports, so possibly switching into the Banshee tech that Rodrigo is expecting at this point. And since he has primarily stalkers on the map right now, he should have no problems dealing with these Banshees, and he does already have an observer out on the map, so he will have detection even if he manages to get cloak out for these Banshees in time. And this 1 observer is actually going to move across to the base. Oh, and a scouting probe getting picked off there very easily by those Marauders. But this observer is going to move over into AJ's base, get a little bit of a look around, and there are no turrets defending against the air, because not a whole lot of Protoss players go heavy air against Terran players, simply because Void Rays are very, very inefficient against Marines. Marines just do a ton of damage to Void Rays, and of course the Phoenix are good for harassment against Zerg players or against a lot of anti-air or a lot of air units, but since most Terran players against Protoss tend to mech, it seems like he is not going to be going for any kind of air defense, because he is not expecting that from this Protoss enemy. But anyways, back at the expansion of AJ, it looks like he does have it pretty well saturated, and you can see on the income tab here, he has skyrocketed in front of Rodrigo, trying to make up for a little bit of lost time with that expansion there by getting a couple of extra mules on that expansion. He is slightly, however, just behind on the gas income right now, about 200. As you can see, he does have less harvesters, and he does not have anybody on gas at his expansion right now. So although he does have the mineral lead, Rodrigo is still leading on the gas income right now. But he does have a couple of mortals on the map as well, which are going to be very strong against the ground armies. Although with primarily Marauders, it's actually not going to be as effective as if he was going more of a mech. So it looks like AJ going to be going with a Banshee Marauder combo, and a couple Hellions in the mix there too, although I'm not sure exactly why he's getting those, possibly just for harassment while he tries to take on the main Protoss army with the rest of his forces, because Hellions are decent against Zealots, but they are very, very bad against Immortals and against Stalkers. So unless he's able to get them on the mineral line to do some harassment, those probably will not play a large factor in these battles. But it looks like AJ has managed to hold control of the Zelnaga watchtower and actually getting that Hellion out there, taking out 1 scouting probe that's out on the map, and he is going to do a little bit of scouting around the rest of the map here, see if there's any hidden expansions, of course checking the high yield, because if your opponent can get a hold of that high yield for a significant amount of time without you knowing about it, it can be bad news bears, and you can fall behind very, very quickly in the economic game. As we can see here, AJ is continuing to pump out these Banshees. He's already got 4 on the map in addition to a large number of Marauders. It looks like about 17 Marauders here out in that cluster, and he has gotten his refineries up and running at the expansion. So once again, you can see he has evened out the gas income. Both players are very, very even right now, and it looks like there is a slight advantage once again for Rodrigo, because he has so many more harvesters, and as you can see, there are not any mules on either of these mineral lines right now. So the Terran player AJ taking a little bit of a hit on the income for not using those, but of course getting the intel he needs in order to build the correct army composition to take on Rodrigo at this point in time. But looking at the production menu right now, we can see there are a couple upgrades going on right now. It looks like one just finished for his gateway units, but there's also the upgrade for the Kydarian amulet. He already has Psystorm available in that